Good morning, folks. Welcome to another edition of 4 Visa Answers in 5 minutes. Okay, let's get cracking. Question 1. I have a quick question about a visa application withdrawal. If an applicant for some reason wants to withdraw a permanent visa 190 application before the decision is made, will this have any effect on a future PR application? Okay, so often we'll see people who are concerned about what was put into their 190 application, or any application, I guess, and maybe the department are concerned as well. Maybe there's some suggestion the information is incorrect or there's a false document. So people will, rather than get refused through 4020, which is a regulation that gives people a 3-year ban on fraudulent information, they'll often withdraw the application. So that does avoid that problem for that application. It takes away the ability for the department to refuse you under 4020 under the current legislation. But the department will look more closely at a future application because that withdrawn application is still on their system. So they're still going to be able to see that you withdrew the application, and if it's suggested or thought maybe there was false information, they're not silly, they'll think that as well. So they can't refuse you on a second application because you withdrew a previous one for that reason, but they'll certainly look at that application a lot closer to make sure that the correct information is going in this time. Okay, question 2. Hi team, my occupation is under 457-26211 database administrator. That visa was granted through my employer. Now I've got a positive assessment from the ACS under 261313 software engineer. Can I claim work points for this? Okay, so they are two different ANSCO codings. One starts 2621, one starts 2613. The department generally consider that work as being different. So the initial answer is no, you can't claim those work points. But the requirement for work is just that you've worked for 20 hours a week at least, in this case for you, under 2613 software engineer. So even though you've got a 457 as a database administrator, maybe you did actually do 20 hours work a week as a software engineer as well. A lot of those occupations overlap a little bit. And it's not full-time software engineer. It's not 35 or 38 hours a week. It's only 20. So that's the question back to you. Can you claim 20 hours a week of software engineer? Can you prove that you did those duties for at least 20 hours a week? If you can, the answer is yes, you can claim the points. If the answer is no, you can't claim the points. Question 3. Why is this happening? One of my friends launched his EOI in November 2018. He is able to get his invitation 1 month later. Okay, so I haven't got the whole context of the question here. I don't know your ANSCO coding. But generally what's happened is the department have dramatically dropped off the number of invitations given to all the occupations, especially the pro rata occupations. So back in December they were giving around 2,500 invitations. We think for February the 11th they only gave around 600. Look, we might be wrong, it might be 800, it might be 1,000, but it certainly looks a lot less than 2,500. So if they're only going to invite the top 600 scoring people, clearly it's going to take longer for people to get an invite who aren't in those top 600. So that's why your friend would have got an invite in 1 month from November 2018, and whatever your occupation is, you're likely to have to wait a little bit longer. Now we think that number will probably stay steady up until June now. It's very hard to predict the department. We basically go on what information we see every month, and we get information from the department, we get information from various sources, and we try and piece all that together. Now the department are changing their policy almost every couple of months at the moment. We do our best to try and predict where it's heading, but we also then report on what we've seen so you can make your own judgment. But at the moment we think probably around 600 to 1,000 every round till June now, and then from July onwards that number should pick up closer to 2,500 a month, which seem to be where the department is happy when they start their program here. Okay, question 4. We got a 190 visa through Victorian State Government. I want to know, do we have to live in the Melbourne City, or do we have to stay in one particular place, or can we move anywhere? Okay, a 190 visa under current legislation lets you live anywhere in Australia. So if you initially intended to move to that state or live in that state that sponsored you, and then the visa is granted and you change your mind, there is nothing in the legislation that requires you to carry on living in that state. Okay, you don't have to advise a department. You definitely don't need to get any sort of permission to leave the state. That's not a requirement for a 190 visa. Okay folks, all done. Remember, if you want some quality management of your visa application, email us at any time to migration@iscar.com, and I will see you soon.